would like to say some things as far as being an indigenous person here in Texas. Talking about exclusion or when history begins for either Hispanics or any other Anglo-Europeans, stating when history begins. Native people had culture, civilization here, government here that was destroyed, and no mention in Texas history books of this. So stating when you will start to record history or teach history to our children, well, that's nothing new to us, since the attempt to erase us from the face of our mother has been going on for over 500 years. So we're still here though, which is what I'm here to say. And we also wish to have inclusion in the text of Texas education. I've written this, it is before you. The current curriculum and TICS testing is skewed, is a consistent fact. That we are here today to address this issue is fact as well. Yet we of the Texas Indigenous Council have a broader goal in mind. The history of the indigenous people of the Americas is studied and learned, known better across the oceans on foreign soil than it is here on our mother. Why is that? Why is so little known or taught in school of indigenous people? Was it and does it continue to be a planned cultural genocide and forced assimilation? We believe that that is exactly what it is. While our testimony may fall on deaf ears today, our goal is that one day soon, indigenous children from all communities of this continent will be taught their customs, language, and indeed their culture in Texas schoolrooms. In this way, learning their identity and finally starting the healing process, yes, finally becoming whole again. By the way, Anahuac, Semanahuac, Aslan are all mexica words for the place of origin of the mexica. This language is a Native American dialect, Nahuatl. History is history, and that Mexico was conquered by the Spaniards is self-evident. But the blood that runs through the veins of many Mexicans is Native American. That is a fact that can be proved by history as well as by DNA. Our goal is that one day soon, we will be made whole again. Thank you. My name is Antonio Diaz, and I represent Texas Indigenous Council. And we are, and have been, left out because we were the original inhabitants of Texas. Hopefully, you will include us in the future. We're talking about drug abuse, talking about teen pregnancy, talking about all this. This is because of loss of identity of our children. They claim to be Hispanics when they're not. They're Native Americans, yet they don't know this.
Thank you,
forced
Mr.
assimilation,
Diaz.
as well as continued forced assimilation to the Anglo identity. Hopefully, you will take it to heart, take it to your mind, open it up. Our children need to know who they are so they can be
Thank you, Mr.
prideful of their
Diaz.
identity. Thank you.
Is there
Thank you for the
Today, March the 10th, 2010, we are here in front of the Travis building at the Texas Education Agency State School Board meeting. They're talking about revising textbooks omitting some people and placing some other people within the textbooks that our children learn from, the social studies books, the history books. And as Native people, we've made our statement that our history has never been included. Whether they start recording history from the 15th or 14th century, or whether they started from the 17th or 18th century, whether it's a European from Spain or a European from any other nation, France or England or wherever it may be, that records their history but does not record the genocide, the Holocaust that Europe brought upon the native people, and the war that it continues to bring upon us by excluding us and forcing us to assimilate to another identity that is not ours, that was not our forefathers. Our real forefathers were the native people that the Europeans made war upon. That's our forefathers. We have nothing to do with George Washington, just as we have nothing to do with Columbus, as we have nothing to do with any of the Spanish generals or captains such as Cortés. We were made war upon by all these people and displaced and forced to assimilate. And the cultural genocide continues, and you see the fruits of it when they're talking about drug addiction, alcoholism, teen pregnancy, broken homes, single parent homes, deaths of children in Texas. This is because of the loss of identity. And until our children are taught again who they are within the walls of Texas classrooms that we as taxpayers pay for, we native people that no longer remember who we are, pay taxes. Our children should learn in Texas schoolrooms who they really are and who their forefathers really were, so that they can take pride in their identity and start following the moral teachings of their native ancestors, which were very upright. They were not loose, they were not morals of depravity, but they were stand-up, upright morals. We had religion that we pursued, and all this has been made war upon. Mayor Boulomar was one of the first presidents of the Texas Republic who stated, "We no longer have an Indian problem in Texas because there are no longer any Indians of Texas in Texas." That mentality still is pervasive when we are refused inclusion in the textbooks of our religion, our culture, and our identity, so that our children can actually have someone to follow.